Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Ever want to get into woodworking, but you decide the tools are just too expensive? Chisels. Oh my gosh, ridiculously expensive. A set of Stanley Sweethearts can be just break the bank. So today I have the perfect solution. This is a set of 6 chisels ranging from 1/4 inch to 1.5 inches from Harbor Freight. Get this. A regular set of 6 chisels, you're talking hundreds of dollars from other companies. $9. I bought these chisels for $9 at Harbor Freight. Let's see if they're any good. For $9, I'm not expecting much, but if we can sharpen them, put an edge on them, and get them flat, these could be a good, serviceable, good first use chisel for somebody who's just getting into woodworking. So let's check them out. Let's open them up. Let's flatten one out. I'm probably going to use the 3/4 inch one for today. I'm not going to do them all, but I'll start with the 3/4 inch chisel. That's kind of the most popular one, and we'll see what it takes to get this thing into good working order. I stopped at Harbor Freight it was actually a few weeks ago. Stopped at Harbor Freight and got into this really cool conversation with this guy. I can't remember his name now. If you did subscribe and you're watching this video, comment below, because I'd like to talk to you more about projects and stuff. But we were talking for probably 20 minutes about projects he was working on and projects I was doing, and it was really cool. We were talking about stuff, and while I was sitting there, I was looking at all the things, you know, the woodworking, woodworking tools, and I saw these chisels, and I'm like, man, $9, like, how good could they be, you know? And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna grab them and I'm gonna see. So I took them, I brought them home, and I had these intentions to like immediately do a review video on it, but I decided, no, I'm gonna hold on that. So the reason I did was I wanted to build our sharpening, or I wanted to get our sharpening stones first. So we did that. And then I wanted to build this sharpening setup that we did in the last video to get that ready to prep these and figure out, I want to give these the best, fairest shot ever that I can do to see if they're any good. Also, I've been watching a lot of woodworkers on YouTube now for a few years, and a lot of the woodworkers that are over in the UK talk about the Aldi chisels. Apparently over in the UK, Aldi sells a set of chisels like this. I don't know if it's 6, it might be 4, but I think they're like 20 pounds. I don't know what that converts to in the US, but they're very cheap from my understanding. They're very affordable, and Aldi sells them. The handles are usually made out of ash, and I think Paul Sellers even uses these chisels regularly, and he is like one of the finest woodworkers imaginable, like for making furniture and stuff. The dude's amazing. So he uses these cheap chisels. So I said to myself, I'm like, well, why do I need these, you know, $2,000 set of chisels when I can buy some cheap ones and get the same results? I'm not expecting them to have the same edge retention as a more expensive chisel, probably not the same comfort out of the box. The handles might not be the best, but maybe we can alter them. Maybe we can put a good edge on it and get it to the point where just, okay, every now and then we have to strop it or sharpen it a little bit more, but it's still a good, serviceable, usable chisel. For $9 for a set of 6, that's insane. You know, so you're talking $1.50 a chisel. Like, that's ridiculous. You can't buy, I mean, it would be hard to find a good not used chisel at like a garage sale for less than $1.50 a piece. So these, like I said, I'm not expecting the moon with these, but if we can get them flat and they can work, this is an amazing first option for somebody who's getting into woodworking. And I might even try, I'm going to use them on our Coleman project, which is another reason why I've been delaying the Coleman lantern box project. I was waiting for these. So I'm gonna chop all of the dovetails in that box with these chisels to really put them to a good test to see how they work. So look forward to that video coming up soon as well. But that's just a long intro into getting into these. Let's get into these chisels, find out what they're about, and go from there. Okay, let's dig into these. So these are by Windsor Design, which is Harbor Freight's like the higher end wood company. So these are a 6-piece wood chisel set. They give you 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, 1 inch, 1 1/4, and 1 1/2. I'm not sure what type of wood the handles are. I want to say from looking at them, they kind of look either like oak or ash. Kind of porous looking grain, but kind of hard to tell right now. So anything on the back? Nope. These are chrome vanadium blades, so added strength and heat resistance. Probably decent. Hopefully they'll hold up a good edge. They are hardwood handles and they have a 25-degree beveled edge. So let's open these up and take a look at one. So we'll take the 3/4 inch chisel first. Just kind of first impressions, just holding it in my hand. The handle feels decent. It's got, it feels pretty good, actually, pretty comfortable. I've got a good firm purchase on it. It's got some kind of lacquer on the handle that I don't really care for, but I get it. It kind of gives a little shine to it. They're not the best hardwoods. There's some knot. There's a knot right there, then another small knot right there, but not terrible. They give you this little piece of aluminum ring at the end here, I'm assuming to stop from splitting when you're hammering on it. I don't know. I guess that's okay. And then the end here, it looks like this would be a cone. I'm not sure. I don't think this is a full shaft chisel, so I think what this is maybe a cone that this is tapered and fits inside there. But I'm not able to like pull that apart, so I'm not sure. It may be epoxied, or that may be solid, and there may be like a shaft that goes inside of that. I'm not sure. So what else? The machining is kind of poor on it. It's got a lot of real harsh, sharp edges from machining, and you could see the machine marks in it pretty strong. The back seems to be ground decent, but I doubt it's super flat. They give you this stupid blade guard here to like protect yourself. I can't stand these things. I usually end up cutting my hand off, more working with them than not. But I do have them on my other chisel, so I guess I can't complain too much. Bevel's not bad. Let's see. It's got a decent bevel. This has got a decent blade on it. It's not terrible. I think I could be able to use this fairly well. Let's compare this to our chisel. So here's the Irwin Marples 3/4 inch chisel. Comparing the two, not terrible. The Irwin is definitely longer, which I gotta admit at times is kind of annoying to me. So I don't mind a shorter chisel. Let's see, the angle looks about the same, but this is definitely a thicker blade. Where the Irwin has a thick blade, but they've got it kind of ground down on the sides to be a little bit thinner, and that helps you get in when you're like getting into dovetails and things like that. You can really get in there, where this might struggle a little bit, having this thicker edge. So the blades are about the same thickness, but Irwin just does this bevel down a little bit shallower on the side there, so it makes it a little more accessible to get in. So you can see the thickness between that one. So you can see the thickness between those on the ends of the blades there. This one being the Harbor Freight and this the Irwin. So not terrible though. So the finish on this, on the Irwin, I didn't do anything to it other than polish the end. So you can see the end there has been polished and sharpened, as well as the back right around there. So this still has machining marks on it, but it feels smooth to the touch. Where this, I can feel every single ridge in it. So the machining is not the best. It's kind of poor quality, but we kind of expected that. That's okay. We can put that to some sandpaper and really smooth that out. We could even polish this out if we wanted to, and make it a little bit better. So those are initial thoughts of how it feels. It's kind of harsh edges and stuff, which we can kind of clean that up with a file a little bit. And like I said, just general polish and stuff like that. The handle, I like the feel of it. It feels comfortable in the hand. I don't feel any hot spots or anything right away. But I also haven't used it that much, or I haven't used it. So we'll see after we use it a little bit. But initial impressions here. I think I want to strip this finish off of here and just put maybe like a boiled linseed oil on the handle, just to give it a better feel. This feels a little too slippery to me. I don't want a slippery handle when you have a razor sharp edge. So those are initial impressions. They write chrome vanadium on the front and 3/4 inch for the sizing. That might come off by the time we do machining on it, or I might leave that on actually and just kind of clean up these edges around it a little bit. So we'll see where we can go from there. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on these, but I want them to be comfortable if I'm going to use them a lot. So let's get our stones out and let's start sharpening this and see how long it takes to get to Actually, first, let's check to see how sharp it is out of the box. They do feel fairly sharp out of the box, so I wonder what they can do. Okay, so we've got a piece of just 1/2 inch cedar here. It's part of a fence post, just kind of a scrap, or fence board, part of a scrap. Let's see if we can just do some light pressure on it. Yeah, it's not terrible out of the box. Maybe it is. So, I mean, it is cutting out of the box, but it takes a pretty good amount of force. Put the bevel down. Oop. So, not terrible. It's cutting. So, I guess it would say it's sharp, but I don't think this is usable sharp. So far it's not terrible. If you bought these out of the box, you could do carpentry level work with these. I would say out of the box without having to touch it. Okay, so let's try these out. We've got our new sharpening board set up. Get it locked into the vise here. So we've got a little bit of water here. We've got our chisel and we've got a Sharpie marker. We're just going to see how flat the back is. So to do that, we only really need just a small amount of area in the back to be flat with the chisel, but I want to see how flat it is. So I'm just going to color a little bit down like that. And then we're going to offer it to the 400 grit stone. All right, we'll do a couple passes on the 400 grit and we'll see how flat that is. If it's dead flat, then all this would wear off. But more than likely, we'll see like a couple sections of it wearing off and a couple sections left, and that will tell us the sections that are left will be those kind of low spots in the back of the chisel. So we're just gonna put it on 10 strokes. Okay, so you can see right here, it did take off all the metal, just a little hair in that corner, but most of the metal's been taken off and the marker's been erased around the front. So this, surprisingly, is fairly flat. Out of the box, it's not bad. This in here has a hollow, so that is definitely low. You could tell we're going a little bit on the sides and a little bit there. We're not hitting the middle too much. That means it's dipped in, but that's not necessarily bad. If it was taking off the middle and the outside, that would be worse because we'd have to take all that metal down to get it flat. Where in this case, we just need just around this edge here to be flat, around the cutting edge. So this would be acceptable, but we're not okay with that. We're going to take it a little bit further and see how flat we can get it after maybe, I don't know, 50 passes. So back to 400. Okay. Not bad. So that's taken off all of our marker now. I want to do that one more test because that is kind of amazing that we didn't have to take this much off. I want to see just the whole thing there. Let's try that. Okay, we're dry. 1920. Okay. Wow. Okay, so 20 passes. We've completely flattened this front all the way down to here. That's more than acceptable. And we're taking off some of the side here. We've got a little bit of marker left here, which means this thing is almost flat. I am going to take the time to take this and just machine this whole back, or grind this whole back down flat, because that is super impressive that these come this flat out of the factory. Yeah, perfect. That's that little spot there. I am not worried about that at all. That looks great. Now I'm just going to run this. Now that we know that we're dead flat, I'm going to run this up through 6. I'm going to run it all the way up and get it really polished. And then we're never going to have to touch the back of this again. That's amazing. All right, let me run through the rest of the grits on this because it's just the same thing. I just wanted to do a little test on flatness, but now I'm going to take it all the way up to a polish and see what it takes. I doubt that was not much at all, so the rest of these will go even faster. All right, so I've got the entire back smoothed all the way to 1200 grit. So now I'm just going to polish the back. I'm going to take our strap. I've got our polishing compound here. I'm just going to charge this leather with a bit of polishing compound, and then I'll polish that back, and we'll never have to touch the back again. So let's do that. There we go. That is almost a mirror finish. Yeah, I can see my hand in it. So it's not perfect. It's not going to be like chrome, but that is a very smooth, very flat surface. Just double check. We're not seeing any light. Beautiful. Okay, so to you guys, this has been a second, but to me, this is 3 days later because life gets in the way. But fortunately, the internet went out this morning, so I've got about a half an hour to an hour to work on this a little bit before I have to go back to work. So, well, where we last just left off, we had the back all flattened out. We're polished. It's still got some little scratches in it here and there, but for the most part, it's, I don't know if you can see that on camera or not, but we've got like a mirror finish on the back, and it's super flat, super smooth, so that's nice. So now that we have that kind of flattened out, I stropped it, probably 50 to 100 times on the strop. Everything's looking good. So we really don't ever have to touch the back again now. So now mainly going forward, when we need to sharpen this, all we have to worry about is this main bevel. There's probably some more stuff I want to do to this chisel. Like I want to take some of these sharp corners off. So just when if I'm handling the chisel or I'm working with it, it just feels a little more comfortable in my hand. And I'm probably going to take a lot of this machining off on the sides and kind of bring that to a higher polish just to make it look nicer. But none of that affects the functionality of the chisel. The main thing here is this back. You want that to be flat, and then the bevel here. I don't know if the camera will pick it up or not, but the bevel has a lot of machining marks on it, so not ideal. We want to get rid of all that, so we're going to put it on our 400 stone for quite a while, I'm assuming, to get rid of those machining marks and flatten those out, and then slowly bring that up to a polish. So we'll work through all of our grits, bring it up and strop it, and see how long it takes to get that up to a nice polish and get a good kind of edge on there for cutting. So we're already just flattening the back. We've already made it pretty sharp. There's a pretty good burr on the back of that we popped off by stropping. So it's getting pretty sharp already. So I think once we take that down, this is going to be a really good functioning chisel. We'll see how well it holds the edge though. So if you're not comfortable with sharpening by hand, right? They have these honing guides out there. They're all over the place. You can get them on Amazon fairly cheap. But essentially what it is it's just a wheel that has, it kind of has a screw on it that goes in and out, and it will grab hold of a chisel or a plain blade. It goes fairly wide. What you would do is you put it in kind of a honing guide like this, find your angle, lock it in, and then it basically rolls back and forth to get that perfect angle. I'm not a fan of using these, but if you're first starting off and aren't comfortable with holding that edge, then I would suggest using something like this. There's a bunch of them out there. There's some cheap ones, there's some fairly expensive ones, but for the most part, they all kind of have the same function. So it's up to you which ones you want to get. Okay, so back to sharpening. We're gonna find, if you're doing it by hand, basically kind of almost lay the chisel down flat, just a little bit up, and then lift up until you feel that bevel kind of hit, and you'll feel it go past that bevel. Like I'm on this side of the bevel, and then you'll feel that one. So as soon as you feel the very cutting edge of the chisel hit, just let it kind of rest and nestle in so that you're laying flat on the chisel. And then we're just going to start with small circles, and we're going to work our way around the stone. So as you're going around, we're going to kind of, that's made to mainly, can't talk today. As we're working around the stone, we just want to wear evenly, so we want to work around as we're moving around. And we're going to spend some time on the 400 to kind of get these machining marks down. So now you don't have to go in the small circles. I just tend to do small circles. If you prefer, you can lay it on its side like this and do back and forth. A lot of people prefer that method. You can go back and forth this way, however you want. There's people out there that will hold the chisel and do figure eight. I'm not a fan of that. I feel like it's harder to control. Sometimes I'll switch from small circles to kind of going back to this back and forth method, but it's all up to you. As long as you're keeping the bevel flat, that's the most important thing. All right, let's take a look where we're at. We're getting there. Pretty much all the machining marks are off. We've got a pretty good burr on the back going so far. We're looking good. We're pretty smooth. I think I'm happy with that. I'm going to move on to 600 and go on 600 until I don't see any more 400 scratches. Then I'm going to move on to 1,000 until I don't see any more 600 scratches, and 1,200, and so on all the way up until we get to a good polished bevel edge. So I will come back when I'm done with that. All right, guys, so I'd say I probably spent about 3-4 minutes on each plate. It wasn't much. I'm really surprised how well these cut to have to bring that down. Either that or the steel is really soft. But so far, this is really, they're really cutting well. And the strop's working really well as well. I like having it up here. So anyway, if you can tell, right there, we have a mirror polish edge on this, and it is just razor sharp. Let's see. At this point, this chisel is ready to work. It's up to you what else you want to do with it from here. You don't have to do anything from here. At this point, this thing is ready to go. You can start woodworking with it. Personally though, I want to do a little bit more to it. I want to, at the very least, take these machining marks down on the side. There's not a whole lot to do. I was thinking originally I was gonna have to file these, put a file to the sides of them, but I think, let me see, I'm not really gonna be able to get in there on that, but on the sides, at the very least, I can use our stones for that because they're cutting very well. I don't have to go all the way through like I did, probably just like 400 or something, and and that would be good enough. But just to get these kind of rough machining marks down a bit, I might take the file and just kind of do one pass up each side just so that it's a little more comfortable in my hand. But like I said, that's all kind of cosmetic stuff at this point. At this point, this thing is ready to work for you. So I'm going to do some of that other stuff. I'm going to do it off camera since it's not part of the functionality of the chisel, but I'll be back and show you kind of what I did to see where, if you are interested in that. Okay, here we are. So this took about, I would say 45 minutes, but it's not perfect, but it's way better than the original. So basically what I did, I came through on the 400 stones, so there's still some micro scratches in there, but not much. I took the 400 stones and took down all the machining, or most of the machining marks on the sides, and got all this flat. Then I came through on these bevels and got those machining marks off. I left the top just kind of machined so you can still kind of see the 3/4 inch mark. But then took it over on the buffing wheel, polished everything to a kind of a mirror shine, so you can see that shine in it now. Then I came and cut the end off of the handle, rounded it over, took the Dremel to it, sanded off all that that finish that was on there, and then soaked the handle in some boiled linseed oil, so it feels much better in the hand now. I think it's like a perfect size for, like, just kind of butt chisel pushing. And as well, you can also just, still wrap your hand around there, keep it off the blade, and be able to, use a hammer with it as well, or a mallet. I like this a lot better in comparison to the original. We'll put it up against the 1/2 inch chisel. That's where we started. This is where we ended. So we took probably right there is the initial. So I kind of tapered this handle down a bit from what this was, got rid of this extra groove in this little step so it feels more comfortable in your hand and kind of just has a nice flowing taper to it now. Cut this whole end off, so cut off almost 3/4 inch off of the handle, and got rid of this I don't know, finial or whatever this is on the end of it. Not a fan of it. I don't see it providing much value, so I got rid of it. I rounded over all the sides on the back of this handle here so that if I do use mallet blows, it's not going to chip pieces off. You can tell, I don't know if you can tell or not from the lighting, but this still has kind of a significant shine on it on the original, and that's that lacquer they put on it from the factory. And then this has, just a nice finished oiled look to it. So very cool. I'm very happy with this. Let's check it out and see after our sharpening how much better it performs now. All right, so here's our first piece of wood that we used when we first tested it. Here's the original chips, right? And if I come in here now and like flip the bevel over, right? And just kind of pare down. We're cutting a lot smoother. I'm putting a lot less effort into it. And look at how fine of shavings we're getting. But the finish we're leaving behind is just polished glass. It's so smooth, it's so shiny, it looks amazing. So just cutting like a dream now. It's paring that wood really nice. So very, very happy with how this is cutting. And it feels so much better in your hand with these handle changes. So we didn't test this on the first one, but we'll test it here now. You can see coming down, cutting this wood. This is the rough saw part, but the parts that we're paring, I'm not using a hammer at all. We're not tearing the wood. We're slicing it pretty nice. So I am pretty impressed with that too. It's leaving a nice shined finish on it. Yeah, it just flows through this cedar like butter. I know cedar's a soft wood, but if it cuts that well on a soft wood, it'll cut even better on a hardwood. It'll leave a much better finish. But like, look at that. It's just like, look at that shine. That's a beautiful, beautiful cut. So I am very impressed with these. All right, so that's it for today. Today we took a $9 set of 6 Harbor Freight chisels that were a little rough out of the package, but serviceable. I would say out of the package, they're a good contractor grade chisel. Just doing regular chopping chunks out of 2x4s or whatever you need to do to just cut some stuff out. These work very well. They come out of the box pretty sharp, and the handles are okay. It's a $9 chisel. Actually, it's a $1.50 chisel, but for $1.50, you can't get much better than this. Like I said, even finding like old Stanley Sweethearts and stuff at a garage sale, you're not going to find anything for $1.50 that is this decent. You know, you can find $1.50 chisels at like swap meets and stuff, but they're not going to be in good shape. You're going to have to put some work into them. But out of the box, this works really well. With about an hour's worth of work per chisel, roughly, you can come up with something like this. We're now at a razor sharp edge. The whole entire chisel feels really good in your hand. There's no hot spots. Everything flows real nicely in your hand. So you could do hours worth of work on this and pare this down nicely, I think, or pare wood down nicely without your hands bothering you at all. The handle upgrades we did, I'm pretty happy with them. If you'd like to see how I did these changes to this, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I'll do a video on how to modify the Harbor Freight chisel to look kind of more like this. This is more of like a butt chisel type handle, but it's still a little bit longer than that. So I like it. It's kind of like a hybrid between the two, to be honest. It does fit. I've got fairly large, fat hands, and it fits in my hand very well. I wouldn't have any fear if I was to mallet strike this. It does come to about the top of my hand, but all I have to do is just move my hand down because I have all this room on the neck there, and I still now have plenty of room to chisel and pare down. And I would mainly choke up a little bit more on this if I was, chopping out a mortise or something like that. So stripping that lacquer off is a huge help, and just soaking some linseed oil or something in the handle. I'll probably coat the handle 3-4 more times this week, and then maybe in a month I'll hit another coat on it just to let it dry up and be good. But that's it for today. What my next plan is to do with these chisels is I'm going to use them to build the Coleman lantern box project that we're working on. I've had the wood cut there for like a month now, and haven't had any time to get around to it because I was kind of waiting for these. So we're going to put these through a good project build test, not just some paring and some cutting of wood. I want to see how long these edges retain, how much I have to strop them, stuff like that. So I will keep you updated on these. But so far, I'm pretty impressed with these. I actually enjoy them. It feels better than my Irwin chisels just in my hand. It feels nice. I like the wood handle instead of that plastic. And I like now this feels so much better in my hand, just the blade being kind of rounded, you know, taking all those hot edges off and all those machining off. This original one, just holding this one in my hand, it's just a little harsh. So it is what it is. But if you like this type of content, subscribe down below, give me a thumbs up, comment, let me know. Have you bought these chisels before? Do you have similar results with them? Do you find similar findings? I know Harbor Freight's quality control is a little hit and miss, right? You know, that survival knife we bought, somebody had said before that theirs was like total trash, but we expected ours to be, and we put it through hell and it's still standing strong. So I don't know, maybe some of their quality control, some is really good, some's not. I'm not sure, but so far I'm really impressed with these. For $9 and a little bit of work and time, you can get a pretty decent chisel. You know, I'm not gonna put this up against, you know, a Stanley Sweetheart or something like that. I feel like those are gonna perform better and last longer, but I mean, I can't discount this. This is still a really good chisel, and I'm actually liking it. I'm gonna do a project with it, but we're gonna see if this becomes my new favorite chisel, and that would blow me away if it does. But hey, like I said, the Aldi chisels that are out there somewhere in the ether, I would love to find them, but my Aldi doesn't sell them, and I've looked several times. But those chisels are, you know, supposed to be dirt cheap, and everybody loves them. So, you know, sometimes you don't have to spend the big bucks on tools to get a good quality item. This one's pretty good. So anyway, I'll see you on the next one.